I'm really excited to share my conversation with David today, who recently broke into tech sales after having an extensive career beforehand. We have worked with people that are 19 years old all the way up to people in their 50s here at higher levels. And this is a really great conversation because depending on the life stage that you're at, you have different advantages as an applicant trying to break into tech sales. There's no perfect answer, but if you're young, you're hungry, you're driven and ambitious, you can rely on that. And also we've seen people like myself who transitioned to tech sales later in my career that have a distinct advantage because I've been a customer of certain tech companies. I've been in business to business environments. I have a different and more evolved perspective than the person that's just out of school or just breaking into their first job. But that's why this conversation is so great, because we talk about how David took all of these unique experiences and was ultimately able to make the transition and beat out several other candidates while breaking into tech sales. David, this was a great conversation. There's tons of great nuggets in here, and we really appreciate you taking the time, especially given you're based in Europe. Nonetheless, I know everyone watching is going to get a ton out of this video.
Hey, everybody. Really excited to speak with David this week, calling in from Germany, who recently broke into a tech sales role. David, awesome background. I know we'll get into it and your experience breaking in. As a starting point, maybe share a little bit about your background and where you were before breaking into tech sales.
Hi, Eric. So pleasure to be here. And yeah, so my background actually before I broke into tech sales was actually sales effectively. So let's say I don't come too far from sales, but at the very beginning, as basically you were also mentioning before, I can actually have a legal background. So I'm not from Germany. Let's say I'm not German. I'm actually Italian. Quite a strange mix, by the way. Yeah, so basically my background, it's a legal background. So I studied law in Rome, then I did like a master in the Netherlands, so in Leiden, because I actually didn't know what to do exactly. So basically I started to pursue that specific career, getting a degree and following a little bit like the formal path. But effectively at one point, like in 2000, at the end of 2016, beginning in 2017, I realized when I was in the Netherlands that what I was pursuing like for the last 7-8 years, it was actually law, like also working in the university with a couple of professors, and again, then in the Netherlands wasn't really what I wanted to do. So I said, okay, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to become, a judge or whatever related to the legal field specifically. So what do I do right now? And what I did basically was to starting to use my communication skills in a way that helped me, let's say, to enter in some form of tech, because already at that time, it was very clear to see how much tech was impactful. Again, it can be a SaaS or other aspect. Again, it's a very dynamic field. I mean, I don't have to tell this to you for sure. And basically, I found like a job as a trainer. So as a trainer in United Kingdom, and I was working in the data protection field and privacy field. 2017, 2018 was actually very big moment, let's say, for all the privacy regulation, and all over Europe, good trainer, let's say, were actually wanted. And so I found basically this. I started basically to deliver training in the United Kingdom and all over Europe. However, after that one was, let's say, was actually not enough. I said, okay, training, okay. Also in terms like of salary and similar stuff, I said, okay, nice, but maybe I could do like something a little bit, let's say, profitable in some way. And that's actually what I did when I started to move actually into the sales, let's say, into the sales space, not specifically tech sales. So that was actually the thing. So legal background, training, asset sales. What do I do? What do I do in this case? And I actually worked for small startups throughout time, especially when COVID started. Again, I don't know exactly how it was in the United States, but here in Europe, again, Germany, Italy, all over the place, everybody locked in. So it was a little bit complex. So you have to reinvent yourself. You really need to have that kind of mindset that say, okay, this is a problem. How do I fix it, instead of trying to, I don't know, to say, oh my God, what's happening? I don't know what to do, etc., etc. So, I started actually to work in sales for small startups in different areas, in the online space, like small in the e-commerce space, payment space, and one that is relatively popular here in the self-publishing space. there was a small startup, and we basically were like 10 people, and we actually did pretty well. And as I also mentioned to you, so let's say my biggest achievement, I closed like a $1.5 million deal. With a great guy, really fantastic guy, great entrepreneur. He basically did an exit, and he actually told me like, "What do I do there with that? Do I have to buy like another piece of real estate, or maybe I can invest in something more interesting?" So I was a good guy. And however, unfortunately, and I'm mentioning this to you because the volume, let's say, of the deal basically crashed the entire structure of the business that we're working in. It was basically too much for the entrepreneur to handle. She burned out. Got like to the hospital. So it was a severe case of burnout. And she told me, "Okay, David, I'm sorry, you fantastic, a great job. I can't handle this kind of stuff. I mean, I already have all of this stuff on my plate. I don't need salesperson anymore." And so I said, "Oh my God, what do I do now?" That's was basically the thing. And from there, okay, I said, okay, probably I really need to go to something more structure, like, I don't know, in sales, something more structure. How really does the work, the process works? Because in the past, when I worked for these very teeny tiny places, I basically use, my network, really word of mouth. It was basically the thing. But I didn't have like a solid structure from going like from A to B and say, okay, this is the process. This is how you can break into tech in a company. What do you have to look for? To whom you have to talk to? How do you need to present yourself, etc., etc. I really didn't have this step-by-step map, so to speak. And this is actually how I came across to your program.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love the progression there. A lot of good things too, in terms of like reinventing yourself. And that kind of leads into the next question. You ultimately elect that you do want some training, you do want some guidance. Yeah. What maybe went into your decision to choose Higher Levels versus maybe other programs you saw out there as well?
Yeah, actually, at the beginning, your program was not the first program that I got. I actually got another program, nice program, nice guy, the one that was introducing. You could really see was someone, again, that know the thing. But for me, specifically, in that specific program, the focus was a lot about how to work into sales, okay? And I was saying, okay, nice, I love, the great, the normal, let's say, or the usual processes, the spin, and so on and so forth. That's okay, very nice, it works. I can see that I really know what he's talking about. How do I break into tech sales in a structured way? Nice, how do I do these kind of things? And researching, again, that's absolutely fundamental. I mean, we have these beautiful tools. We can basically search, and we can have all the knowledge that we want at our fingertips. And I found basically one of the videos on YouTube of you two, so of you and Chris. And I said, okay, I give it a shot, because again, if I always evaluate, like a risk management thing. Okay, if it doesn't work, how much do I lose? If it works, how much do I gain? And personally, again, seeing the kind of videos that you made, and considering again really the cost for me, I said, if it doesn't go, I've learned something else. Otherwise, I can really get a job in a place that I like. And so for me, it was really a no-brainer. So
yeah, no, that's great to hear. Yeah, and I'm curious too. You mentioned like you have some industry experience. You're already kind of whether it's sales or in the training role, you've kind of got some sales and or exposure in the data world. So I'm curious, on that note, you do join Higher Levels. What are some of the things that you learned that you feel like you didn't have before joining the program when it comes to presenting yourself or interviewing effectively? Are there anything that really stands out to you that really set you apart?
Yeah, 100%, especially during the interview part, the structure that you gave. Okay, because again, when you're introducing yourself, apart from fixing your LinkedIn profile and again, how to present yourself, etc., but what I found really useful for me, was really crucial, was the how to go, let's say, from every single step. When you're talking to the HR, and then when you're talking to to your manager, that in my case actually was the CRO of the company. Basically, talk to all the C-level, because the kind of job that I found amazing. I'm very happy about that. It is in a very cool tech startup here in Germany, so in Bonn, actually, here nearby. So very happy about that. Again, thank you very much. The important thing was actually going through all of these different processes, having really the structure. Okay, how you talk to these people, what are the questions? This is super important, because you might have all the knowledge in the world, but one thing is to know things, Another one is to know how to do it. How to practice, how to present yourself. It was very, very important because it's in the end with the workbook that you have created, with all the again all the information and all the support that you gave to all the process. I actually took all of this and I made like a 28 pages by myself with every single question. Again, based on my experience, I didn't have to create anything particular. I already have the experience in the field, but without, let's say, this kind of guidance, for sure, for me, it would have been much more complex, it's much longer, and I would have probably missed a great opportunity because it's true that you can get multiple interviews, you can talk to multiple people, but again, when you see a job that you really like and it can be a really good fit, you really want to get it, So, and without this kind of structure, probably I wouldn't got it. So that's it.
Yeah. No, it's great to hear. I love that you took it and ran with it. And actually, a common question I'd love to ask you too. We get this a lot. We do work with a lot of folks around the world, commonly Europe, Australia, Asia. We have people literally in every pretty much continent breaking into tech sales. Was there anything, you specifically being in Europe, how did Higher Levels equip you for the European tech landscape? Do you feel like it did fit well? Were there things that you feel like, or maybe you would give advice to a European student that's taking Higher Levels of how to modify what we do typically here, if you will, in North America to better fit Europe? I'm just curious if it fit, if there were gaps. What's kind of your overall feedback on that as a whole?
Okay. I need to clarify one thing, because basically when I did this, when I started the application process, again, as you mentioned also at the beginning, I live in Germany, I live in Cologne. When I started actually the application process, I actually went through companies all over the place in English-speaking companies. Again, my German actually still is not very good. It's my fault, actually. So I wasn't able to, and I'm still not able to sell, let's say, in German. So I really need to find something in English. The problem was that this would have forced me to leave Germany, and specifically my partner. So I actually started to apply like the first week. I think I applied to 150 companies. And for 150, I mean, like applying, finding the person of interest, reaching out to them. So it was very boom, 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 boom. And I started to have actually the first interviews also with pretty big companies, big tech companies. And I remember on one of these, I was actually, can I mention the company? Is that an issue if I mention the company? Or I was mentioning basically like with Amazon, I was actually starting the first interview with Amazon. And the lady was talking, and swear to God, the lady was talking, and I was saying, what am I doing? So why should I leave my partner and like together in 10 years to go to somewhere else and not being with her for years? We have already done this. I said, no, this cannot work. I really need to find something here in Germany. But then there was the problem. I do not speak German. So how do I do? So I really had to go like to searching for those kind of companies that were really, like they were searching for a job in English. And I can tell you, they were really not many. And after I applied for 150 companies like the first week, the second week I was searching, and I got a little bit of holidays basically between these two parts. So I only applied like for a bunch of companies, really just a few, like 10. And I got actually pretty good feedback. And one of these is actually the companies now I'm going to work for on Monday, basically. So I'm going to start in a couple of days there. And for me, what it was, am I telling you this? I'm telling you basically this because I've also been lucky. As you also mentioned, there is like a quantity part in this job. So because you never know how the other companies are dealing with all this stuff. So there is a quantity component, but there is also a quality, and a bit of luck is crucial. So, and luck is always preparation meeting opportunity, as an old coach Nightingale used to say. And so for me, it was. In this specific case, let's say for my personal experience, what it was really great is going through the questions. So really the interview process, the interview application. Although I was asked some crazy questions to be shared, to be honest with you, that I don't know if I can mention to you one, but it's
fire away.
Yeah, so basically with the CEO, like I got basically 3 calls: one with the HR, one of the CRO, and one of the CEO. And to be honest, I thought I really sucked. I mean, and I really prepared them. I said, I really suck. It's something here I'm really not, I really should be more prepared. And this is a big advice I can give to everybody. So really know your stuff and be prepared. Because again, this is like, at least for me, like a university exam. You have to go there, you have to answer certain questions. And one thing, again, is to do your job. Another one is to pass the interview and get the job. So 2 different things. So getting the job is not exactly doing the job. That's what I've seen in Europe. And the third call actually was the CEO of this company. And we are talking. We're actually getting along together very, very well. So it was really nice energies and stuff. And then at one point, out of the blue, he asked me, David, I'm sorry, I asked you a question like, this is not in stuff, but what is your favorite day of the week? Please tell me. And I said, honestly, my favorite day of the week is Monday. And he said, like, why it's Monday? I said, because when I have a great project I'm working on, I'm really looking forward to work on that. And I know that I have basically Monday, the time is starting, the week is starting, and I'm really, really happy. And it's really true. So when I know what I'm going to do, and I think this works actually for everybody, when you know you are working and you are going towards something, you really want to go there faster. And then I said, okay, is that okay for you? Yeah, that's actually my favorite day as well for the same identical reason. I said, okay, so it was a good answer. I answered well. Yeah, so that was for me a pretty crazy one, because I didn't expect anything like that. And of course, you couldn't put that in the call, so I have to say it's not in the call, so it's not included. But yeah, so that was it.
No, that's great. Free nugget for anyone watching for sure. Great. I mean, tons of great information here. Maybe kind of working towards a close too. I'd leave it wide open, whether it's just in general, specific to interviews, or in your situation where, yeah, maybe you're living in Europe, you don't speak, German in your case, you're looking for English jobs. Wide open if there's maybe 1, 2, or 3 other things you tell to your younger self, or advice for anyone on the outside trying to break in.
Yeah. For sure, again, the number one thing, try to be very clear on where do you want to go. I mean, the idea usually it's like, there are all of these fantastic companies. I can go everywhere, all over the place. The reality is that you are one person, so you need one job. You can't have more, of course. So, I mean, you have infinite opportunities, but in the end, you're just one person. So especially when you are very young, I really envy you when I'm seeing, for example, inside the community where I see like this, these people say, I'm 20 and now I'm breaking into tech. And I was like, fuck, I'm 40. And it's like, 20 years. Gosh, if I'm going to get like 10 years back. Anyway, so jokes aside, really, especially when you are, if you are very younger, and again, you really have this excitement, you really want to do multiple things, try to set very clear expectation for yourself, especially considering whether or not you have experience in what you're doing. Okay, so that's important. Everybody want to become the head of sales immediately. I want to do this. Okay, slow down a second. So if you have just started, I don't know, you're just fresh out of, I don't know, it's like a college or high school here, for example, in Europe, try to be very focused again and to set basically the steps. So you want to become an SDR, you start with that one, you collect the skills, and then you grow. Okay, so you first do the job actually, and then you get the label. So that's really the thing, when actually everybody want the label, want the name, I don't know, SDR, account executive, but first you do the job. First, you really show that you are available resources for the company you're working in, and then after that, you get the label. So the thing is actually completely inverted. Let's say these two aspects. And yeah, so really, long story short, the first thing would really be to be very set clear expectation for yourself, and number 2, set a clear goal. Set a very clear goal in relation again to the job. So what kind of where would you like to be? What kind of job would you like to be? So very clear, because then you have to take action, and it has to be done in a consistent way. And of course, as you and Chris mentioned multiple times, it is also a quantity game. Not only, but there is also this aspect that you have to consider, because you never know which opportunity will pop up or will arise. You simply don't know. So you have to deal with this unknown aspect of the job. So again, if I could advise my younger self, this would basically say the thing that I would tell to myself, and I would definitely say, start immediately, start now, don't wait 20 years. But yeah, that's I can't do that.
Yeah, no, well said. A lot of great stuff there, and totally agree. I mean, yeah, it's funny. I actually just offline recorded a video about that as well, in terms of starting younger. And also, I think to your point, absolutely, like, we focus on quality first and foremost, but yeah, quantity unlocks a couple of different things, whether it's, you still have the opportunity that you want. Well, if you actually have multiple interviews going on, you have more leverage to negotiate, yes, et cetera, et cetera. Very well said. But David, this is a great conversation. Tons of great information here. Really appreciate it. If you're okay with it, I'll add your LinkedIn too in the description, if anyone wants to give you a shout or has any questions. But yeah, if there's anything else, feel free. But this is great, David. Really appreciate the perspective, and congrats again.
Thanks, sir. Very happy really to help and to support other people. So if anybody has any question, you just shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Super happy to tell you more about it. And actually, again, I really have to thank you, because this was really a job that when I really started the application process for this job, I I like it very much, and I really didn't know whether or not I would have got the job. But actually, and every single time, I'm really not joking, like with the HR, with the CRO, I said, oh, fuck, I screwed this again. And then I was passing this every single time. And I said, oh my God, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer, I'm getting closer. And it's really an amazing place. So I've received like a package, for example, here at home with, I don't know, a letter written by handwriting with gifts, with stuff. And it was actually a great thing. And if I found really this job, of course, I did the work, but I could have done, let's say, in this way, and probably with this kind of job without your help. So actually, I'm thanking you, you and Chris. Really, thank you very much. It's been really a great training. So there is always to learn, and if you can learn from the best, it's just the best. So thank you.